Aloha and welcome to Holistic Hawaii TV. My name is Karen Gomes,
I'm Claire Baggio.
And I'm Zach Royer.
and today we are here with Maxima Forsland, who is the founder of Kukuilani Healing. Welcome, Maxima, and thank you for being a part of our show today. Today we are gonna experience some of Maxima's healing modalities. Earlier, it took 5 minutes for her to heal an injury that I currently have on my right arm, which we'll be sharing with you later. But let's go ahead and chat with you about some of your experiences in healing and what is it that you bring to the table.
I believe that I bring love and light. I had a light experience when I was younger, and I was afraid of the light for like 30 years. And people, we say people have fear, and you can't imagine how I felt whenever I saw this ball of light come to me, and I wouldn't accept it. I was afraid. I didn't know what that light was. But for some reason, in accepting the light, it was like the best thing I ever did in my life. I went through the light when it finally came at the age of 40. And now it's actually what I work with. So I explain that story because when you have fear, a lot of times that fear will become your friend. So, and that's what I bring to people. I work with the universe. You can say the universe or God, whatever you want to call it. And it's just always being present. And have the passion. Everything that you do would be a passion. And I think that's what people feel.
So was that what changed you when the light came? Were your thoughts different? Because I know you had mentioned you had an experience with the light as a child. What was that experience that caused this experience at 40 to have you to consider that and then realize that it was your life's calling, maybe?
Going through the light gave me confidence. So you can say that a lot of us don't feel that we're enough. And that's what I felt. I went through so much in my life, and a lot of people will say, well, I look at you, I didn't realize that you've gone through all of that in your life. And I've probably gone through more because I felt like I was the black sheep of the family. And I didn't think that I was smart enough. So that light just gave me confidence. It made me feel lighter. And it made me look at the world. I was like, wow, actually Earth, this is heaven. And everything was brighter, lighter. It's really hard to explain when you get to that point because, and I always say that I don't look at other people, I just look at myself first, and I compete against myself. I'm constantly making myself better, but not better. I really never looked at myself physically. I really never weighed myself. I've always looked at myself spiritually to say, okay, so what is it am I missing? And then as I work with my clients, I listen to them and I say, okay, what can I learn from my client today? What can my client give me? And I'm not looking at it, what am I giving them? I'm saying, okay, how can they help me? I guess because I'm always looking at it at a different point of view. And actually, I can pay my clients, but it's like, okay, so what are you going to give me? What are you going to share with me today? And that's that energy that we feel. And so, and you can say it's an exchange of energy and a release.
So in a typical treatment that you would give, do you prepare the client in any way to have them receive this? Are there any questions that you would ask a client so that they are open to your healing, or what preparation takes place for them, the client to receive the experience as you would?
And I would say that when they come to me, they're on their journey and they're ready for it. And there's really, I say, the only thing that I would say is, are you in acceptance to healing? Would you like to try it? And from there, they're on their journey. Because either I have to sense whether or not they need to hear the words, or to just be peaceful and quiet so that they can receive. So everybody's different. I don't really have a set guideline, and I just have to be open for them to be on their journey.
So you go with the flow of the client. The client is feeling a certain way, you just let him or her say what they need to say about it, and then you work from there. I see.
Do you also perform like group healings, or are you more one-on-one individual basis?
I've done group healings of up to 50 people.
Wow.
And in October, somebody had asked me to do 600 people. So,
Wow.
so that will be interesting. But when I do a group of people, we're all sending love and light into the room. And then you can feel the room start to heat up, because usually when you start off, the room is cold. There are stuck energies in certain areas. And the sessions help to share that love and light. And we share love and light to the universe, so that the universe feels that warmth.
So do you use certain tools to gauge the current temperature, or how the healing is before, you take it before the healing and after the healing? Do you?
Usually I don't, because I go with what the body tells me. But in order for me to teach people how my energy works, I use an infrared camera, and then I also use hangers to show them how you can detect where stuck energy is.
Dowsing hangers.
Yes.
See.
So for me, because a lot of people say, "Oh, do you use crystals? Do you?" I don't use anything. All I do is use my hands and then feel the energy. So other things, I call them accessories, because it's like what other people. It's just a teaching tool.
Very interesting. Yeah, because when you perform the healing on my right hand, right now, like I was saying earlier, right now I still feel like there's still healing in progress, even though it's been 10-15 minutes ago since we've done the healing on my hand. But I like you've mentioned, now it's like the angels are taking over,
Yes.
and completing the healing. So not sure if you notice, I keep on doing this with my hands, but I just feel like I need to keep my right arm not constricted right now. It needs to finish its process. And as I was mentioning earlier, I couldn't squeeze, and now I can squeeze with all of my might.
Because your muscles felt that it needed to relax. Because did you feel that you were holding the muscles?
Yeah.
Yes.
It did feel that way, and then once I guess the energy started flowing and releasing, that's when I felt like my muscles began to relax. But what was interesting, it wasn't just where the injury is located. Every muscle, from even under my arm and up to my shoulder, I felt a difference. And then I felt like a flow towards the end, and the cold sensation that I felt was under my palm. So it was really interesting.
So was the cold sensation the energy moving through you, or what did you
It felt like that. It felt like it was whatever, I don't know if you want to use the word toxins or stagnant energy. It was trying to be pushed out. That's what it felt like. And as the coldness that I felt, it seemed like because now there's room for my body to breathe or for my arm to breathe, where it's like, okay, I'm out, I'm releasing already. And I still kind of feel a sense of
It's tingly.
yeah, and still a little cold sensation. So interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, that is interesting, because the photography of the areas showed a heat temperature where there was some pressure. I mean, where there was some built up energy, and it's a heat sensor, but yet you feel cold. So that's very interesting that that it was a gauge of heat, but that you feel cold energy going through.
Well, while she was performing the healing on me, I felt warmth. I felt the warmth here, where she had her hands. So I felt the warmth here, and I felt the warmth here, and then the warmth started going throughout my body. But as the healing was coming to a close, that's when the cold sensation happened on my palm.
I see.
Because I felt the energy releasing at that time, and then remember I mentioned you'll feel heat, and then you'll start to release the heat, and then it turns to cold, and that's where the healing takes place.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what kind of healing would you call this? I know you call it Kukuilani, but is it an energy movement, or is it a mixture of Reiki and the indigenous healing modalities?
As far as Reiki, healing touch, and what I do, it's all energy healing, and I guess you can say that what I do is more intuitive. So when I do the healings at the hospital, they said that, normally they have, it's like system. There's a certain system that you use. You have your hands placed in a certain area, where the hospital said, if it comes through because you're intuitive, just let your intuition, do the healing. And it works because I listen to the body. And it's just like the heat, because I can feel where the heat is, and so that's where the intense heat is. I leave my hand there until I feel that the healing went through.
I see. So it's a focus of energy coming from the universe that comes through you. Do you feel, is it similar to Reiki, where I believe they feel that the thought comes, or the energy flow from the universe comes through them and out to the hands where they are directing it? Is that similar? Is that part of?
You know what? Because I work with another healer, and he had told me that I work my healing in like the 9th dimension. So a lot of it, the healing is more of a physical, and I think I work at a higher dimension. So maybe you can say that would be the universe. 9th dimension would be like infinity, really going out to the universe, or even going beyond. And so I've worked with a lady who did, I forget what it's called, matrix, where she can see certain things, like if you're meditating in a room, and she can see certain things, like certain colors of the room. And what I did with her, because she said, Maxima, let's work together and see what we can come up with the people in the group. And what I did, I tested her, because I said, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and put a turquoise crystal where she can see it above the people. And it's funny because she says, oh, wow, and I can see the turquoise water in Hawaii. And I'm like, wow, she saw that.
Wow.
And then so every time when I put something up, she saw. So I says, okay, I'm going to go ahead and put her out into the universe and see what happens. And she was like, wow, it's out of this world. This is really amazing. And then so after the session, she looked at me and she says, "Oh my God, Maxima, I can't believe that you opened me up."
Wow.
So I help people. I help healers to do more than what their capacity. So just to teach them that they could go at a better place, or I don't know, infinity. I don't know how to explain it.
Tapping into the energy of the universe to help you instead of thinking you do it. Maybe would that be?
Yeah, and that's the thing, that I'm not doing it. I'm asking. I guess you can say
You're
that
like a
I'm
conduit.
Yeah, I'm just the vessel, and I'm just saying that you can ask to go be bigger than what you are. We are all bigger than what we are, but we make ourselves look so small, and we all have the power to do it.
Or that we think that it's just our spirit in our body, but yet our spirit is bigger than our body. And it seems like you tap into that because
and we're
you
all
speak
one.
of dimensions.
So you can imagine that when we work as one, we're bigger. Because like when you do healings, because like I say, we're always thinking of the physical, but it's all energy. Like this room is full of energy. It's not air. Air is energy. Empty space is energy. Like the space between the notes when you're listening to music. The spaces between the notes is what makes the music.
And the space between our thoughts are the actual thoughts that dictate, what happens, it seems. So,
and our subconscious, because they're
subconscious, yes.
So anything that we don't see is actually what's holding us together. Yeah. So all the space, I mean, the universe, we think that the universe is just open area. I mean, that's everything.
Oh, and it's the air we breathe, and it's 100% of our bodies is, oxygen and spirit and air. So I can see how you consciously directing your thoughts or your energy, would you say? I mean, do thoughts come through you that you're directing through the body? I mean, like you said, you projected a turquoise, crystal, and she saw the color. Do you do that when you're healing someone? I mean, what were your what were the thoughts going through your mind when you were healing Karen?
The strongest healing is when there's no thoughts. When you're what is the word? Being humble, humility, and that's the strongest healing that you can ever receive, is just to be. So and it's hard, because we're always thinking, okay, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to think? And every time when you get there, you're analyzing. You're analyzing yourself. You're not trusting the universe, right? Because you're saying, am I doing this right? I don't do that. I was like, I'm just being. The person is just being. Emptiness is the strongest. I know it's hard to teach that. And I always go back again to passion, because I can just sit and crochet and sew, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. This is like, I'm not thinking, but I'm present, and this is so awesome.
So it sounds like it's an instinctual action that you take. Your instincts are telling you that you're open to it, and you follow your heart, you follow your passion, you follow your inspiration. And so when you're sitting with someone, that thought of just being present, but being humbled by the service of the spirit that calls you is what moves through you. And then you can feel the heat, or you can feel the temperature of...
Yes, because when you're just being and you're not thinking, I'm thinking, wow, this is so amazing. Because when you're thinking it's amazing, I'm thinking the same thing.
Right.
Because I'm humbled to it. I'm not saying, this is me. This is, wow, this is the universe doing it. And I always say, because it's like people talk about what I've done, and I will look behind me and like, okay, that's not me. I know that there's something, they're talking to someone who did that. It wasn't me.
Interesting.
I remember you talking about at one point someone told you that you had ancestors, about 10 Hawaiian ancestors, spirits around you. Could you tell us about that?
Yeah, there actually were a couple of groups of people. And one group that I was doing training with, they said, yeah, when you were doing the healing around the pool, because we did a little test, and we were like in a spa in a pool, and the lady said, wow, there were like 10 people. I saw images of them, and they were dark skin, dark hair, and I didn't know who that was. And then there was another group, and actually it was a gentleman, and usually, you know, he was embarrassed to say, and he didn't hear the other person. It was a totally different group, and he said the exact same thing. He says, yeah, there were 10 people with dark hair, dark skin, and I can't tell you because they were just images. And I'm just thinking, maybe that's why I came to Hawaii, because maybe these spirits guided me here, and it's these 10 images that keep following me. But I had one grandmother, so grandmother's an indigenous grandmother, and she said she put she put her hand on my heart, and she looked around and she says, oh my God, Maxima, she says, this room is full, which means that I'm assuming that she meant full of spirits. And I bring them with me, and they do the work. I'm not doing the work. That's what I believe, and I feel that they're around me, and people, like you mentioned, what was that? And I think they're here. They knew that we were going to do this session, and they were here. So, and that's the being humble, because if you're closed and you're thinking different thoughts, not a loving thoughts, you won't feel them around you, but you do have them. That's what I believe. Everybody has them, but you know what? It says we totally numb ourselves. We numb ourselves, everything, physically, emotionally, spiritually. We're numbed. And we're always thinking, am I doing the right thing? Am I good enough for anybody? All those thoughts, you're constantly analyzing. But then if you put trust in your heart, trust in the universe, everything comes. And that energy, everybody will feel that love and light, that energy.
Right.
So it sounds like you have an element of trust that the universe is going to provide what you need and what your client needs, and then you're open to that. Okay.
Yes. And the same thing with regards to the world, but I know that we see war, we see people, we have the compassion for other people, but you don't realize how powerful you are, because all you have to do is provide prayer, and it works. And I totally believe that works.
Oh, yeah.
The power of prayer.
Yes.
Well, I saw it in 9/11. You know, when that incident happened, there were people all over the world that said, God bless you. You know, we prayed, so many groups at the office prayed all of a sudden. There were just people all over the world taking moments of peace and prayer, and I believe that it helped us to recover from that as a nation, I believe that we got closer because that humbled us to get down on our knees or to join hands together as one.
Together.
And our thoughts were for peace. Our thoughts were for love. Our thoughts were for healing of whoever was affected by this. And I'm sure that you have, you may have been doing your work at that time too, to send the loving prayers and thoughts to those that had been, involved in, and also to help better the world, it seems. I mean, do you see that your healing is, when you're working on one person or 600 people, do you visualize it for the world, or what are your thoughts on, think?
I'm the vessel, and they're doing the work. So whether it's the person doing the work or the spirits that are there, that are supposed to be there, we're all doing the work together.
And in an earlier segment with Gavin, you mentioned something about healing the spirit first. Can you enlighten us more about what do you mean by healing the spirit, or how do you sense the spirit is? Because are the spirits ever in a troublesome state, or is it a connection that we need to do to connect ourselves to the spirit? So can you enlighten us on
think
that?
a lot of people have lost the spirit, and it doesn't necessarily mean religion. Spirit means what you have in your heart, whether you're being happy or peaceful. And if you're not happy or peaceful, you've lost the spirit. You lost the connection. Whether it could be just yourself. You lost your heart. And you know that terminology where they say, I feel like I'm beside myself. I feel like I'm not myself. And that's where you lost your spirit, because you're no longer your true self.
Whole. Yeah. You're no longer whole.
And it has to be mind, body, and spirit. But in order to heal your spirit, you need to ask yourself, well, how can I be back and connected with myself? Because you've lost yourself, right? And you're and like I said, we've learned to just look at our physical. Oh, I hurt here, but you don't realize that's emotional. It's spiritual. So, and then you go like this. I'm sorry. You're in pain. I have to trust that I can heal myself. So we've lost it. And I hate to say this, but the physicians, they'll say, okay, I can heal you, but they're not really healing you. You're healing yourself, right?
Well, they can give you advice, and that would cause you to heal or not heal, depending on how much faith you think they can heal you or that you heal yourself. Because for me, after I went to a naturopathic doctor and then went to a Western doctor, they gave me different pieces of advice that I could compare to, and maybe that's what, Maxima offers is another type of modality to open yourself up to look at everything. Maybe do you feel like you open people's thoughts to?
I believe so. I don't know if it has to do with opening people's thoughts, but I think it has to do with allowing them to feel what peace feels like. Because everything starts to relax. And like I said, I can actually see when I'm doing the healing, I can actually start to see everything, muscles start to relax, and I can feel their spirit come back.
No kidding.
So what you're saying is that when her arm had a temperature, it showed heat in this area. What was that? Was it a form of pent up energy or spirit? I mean, because it seems like it maybe could accumulate with stress, or is that?
Yeah, if I didn't do the healing on her, it's more prone to receive negative energy and build up. And that's how, when you're not feeling well, you start to get down on yourself. And if you don't connect with spirit right there and then, because once you connect with spirit, you start to heal right away. But then you start to feel depressed about, oh, I don't feel good. I'm starting to feel worse, because you're giving that to yourself. You're connecting to people. Oh, I'm sorry, you're not feeling very well. And you start to feel depressed, and then because you've opened that, it's like a wound. If you don't heal it right away, it starts to spread.
You get infected.
Yeah, so you're infected, and then you start connect. There's some people who thrive on that, right? And they go, they know the right person to call, because that person's going to say, "Oh, I feel so sorry for you," and then you start to build it up. Then we always say, "Okay, I have to connect with somebody positive," and you start to feel better. Yeah, and that's all that is.
Kind of people.
If you've ever been to the hospital, you know what nurses, they're going to come and they're going, they'll give you loving thoughts, and you automatically start to feel better and you heal faster. And I know I won't say what hospital, but somebody said, "Oh yeah, you don't want to go to that hospital because they just like put you there and they don't come and see you." And like I said, all it is just that love. And you know what? You can feel the passion. It's like, for example, if you take your car to a mechanic, and you know what mechanic is good, because the good mechanics put their passion into it.
They care.
Yes.
They care.
And it's actually the same thing, because it's really funny. A computer wasn't working, and I'm like, oh my God, I did everything that I could, and then my last thought was, okay, I'm gonna try this. So I put my hand on the computer. I was like, okay, I give it my love and my light, and then I opened it back up, and I got, oh my God, it's working.
Oh yeah. Well, they have energy too. I mean, our laptops, our cell phones, they all have crystal energy that responds to our thoughts. And like the iPhones, they're quite intuitive. But when you are, and I would do this when I worked for corporate, entities, is that when the copy machine was not working, I went and pet the copy machine and said nice things to it. Same thing with my truck. When I am, so grateful, I'll kiss her on on the steering wheel, because she protects me, and I believe that she performs better when I'm loving her versus just pressing on the gas, pressing on the brake. And would you say that you're more of an activator of having people appreciate their bodies or their thoughts?
I would say so, because when I put my hands on people, they'll like, wow, I haven't felt like that way before, and they become peaceful. But see, and the thing is that no matter what you're doing, it's your mind, body, and spirit has to be one, no matter what you're doing, because that's what makes you better, I think.
And right now too, I feel like I'm in such a relaxed state, so much more relaxed than I was when I first walked in this room a couple of hours ago, and yet you just performed the healing on just one side of my body, but it just feels like my entire body is in a relaxed state. It's interesting.
It's hard to explain. It's not, like they say, it's something that you have to experience.
In this day and age, not everyone can run out to the to the ocean to take a dip. Are there other recommendations that you might give someone for their environment, maybe?
Yeah. If you're at home, what you can do is make a little corner, like a sacred place for yourself, wherever you relax, or if it's in your bedroom, wherever, or outside, even if it's just a little corner, and say, this is like my sacred space. And every time when I go in this sacred space, I'm just gonna be. And if you want, whatever makes you feel good, you can do what you connect with. You could be crystals, a picture, somebody you admire, just put their picture there, and let the energy be only of love every time when you sit there. And every time when you do that, and you exercise that, because you're helping your spirit, you're going to feel that energy start to build.
Interesting.
Yeah. And and it's really funny because I've been to Bali and Japan, all these other places, and they either have a whole block that's a temple, or a little alleyway that's a temple, or at their house. And they do offerings every single day. And I'm like, wow, it's so impressive, because that's how they work on their spirit. They have this little section, no matter how big or how small, that's what they're doing.
A sacred space that you always keep sacred, and you visit it. I see. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Anytime you're in that space, you just sit there and just be of love, or even light a candle. And it's just a reminder. And it's really hard, because in my experience, when I've worked with clients, they say, you know what, I couldn't have done this by myself. And I'm like, well, I don't know what to, how do I teach other people to do this? But when they attend the session, it's just like what you're saying, is you sit there and you go, wow, this is what peaceful feels like. This is what, I don't care what anybody says, this is who I am. And that's the thing, because what you were talking about, because you're saying that, okay, there's yoga, there's diet, there's this and that. I was like, you know what? I'm going to eat what I want to eat. I'm going to, does that make sense? Because diet is like a fad. Every year, it's a different diet. Okay, diets are fads. People don't see it that way, but I do. Because next year there's going to be a new way to eat. And then they say, okay, you can't eat at McDonald's, you can't do this, you can't eat like GMO or anything like that. It's like, okay, I'm just going to be healthy and eat what I want to eat. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm not going to, because what happens is you're putting fear again in your body.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm supposed to do yoga. Oh, today I'm supposed to go ahead and do running. Like I said, I don't even weigh myself, and I could eat something bad, and then I said, okay, I'm just going to stay off. Moderation, right? Everything in moderation. People who smoke can live to 100 years old. So what's up with that?
Yeah.
Because they have that spirit. Okay, so my father-in-law smoked, and he lived. I mean, he was in his 80s, and he smoked every single day of his life. But you know what? He had that spirit
to keep going.
And it's your thoughts, If you think that is going to heal you, then it will.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I think about food too. I visualize everything as a salad going down, so that it comes from the earth somehow.
Yes.
I thank everyone who touched it to bring it to my table, to bring it to heal me. And, it's just a funner way of putting my thoughts into it as it's going down. What I've seen others do is do their bills while they're eating, and that's not healthy, because here you are stressing about something. It causes the food to transmute to something that's gonna not be good for you because of that feeling, that thought that you have. So I believe that Maxima, to me, and of course I've had a healing from her as well, is that she opened me up to have to be aware of my own thoughts. I noticed that when I was on the, table and she was running her hands through me, that I could feel a presence, and I was an observer of the presence. Like she was a presence bringing this knowledge and wisdom, and I was going, what you were doing, what's happening to me? Wow, I feel energy going through me. Is that her or is that me? What, am I helping? And then these other thoughts would come through my head. Okay, I'm okay, I'll get through this, and then it was changed to hope, from just wondering what it was to actually saying, okay, I'm okay with it, and thank you for letting me see it and feel it so I can, release it and let go. And she was pushing it through me, so that was.
And then how was your thoughts though?
They were more relaxed. They were more at ease, and like you said, they were at peace. And it felt like someone was listening to me as I'm going through this energy, not speaking to her, but that someone was listening to my thoughts and my energy, and that I was analyzing who it was, because she had told me that she has these, healers and shamans and kahuna around her. And so I felt that presence of all of them working through her to heal me. And it was really, I've trusted her. I trusted that I would get what I needed to out of this. And I think that's the vessel.
I think you trusted more yourself though.
I trusted myself that you would help me. I mean, I do feel at some point we need each other. We're all a part of each other's dreams, and we can't do it, we can do it on our own. We can heal ourselves, but then it takes conduits and vessels like Maxima and you to really pull out certain points of who I am that I didn't take that perspective on. So, like with her and, all of you being open to the information, there's no judgment, like she said. There's, everyone has their own opinion, and it's as valid for you as it is for me, even though it's, it's your own thought, but taking it into respect and humility, that we are wisdom. You're my teacher as much as she is. It all, works. But when you go to see a healer like Maxima, she channels that energy directly into you. And that part is
amazing.
Earlier with when we spoke with Gavin, and he kept saying, before he was a skeptic, and how he didn't believe in energy medicine. And now he's very convincing that he does believe in it, and it's helped him. And that should really open some eyes to say, this construction worker is now, he almost got moved to tears, I noticed, because he really felt it was real and true and helped him. And
you saw the passion that he was,
did.
When he was speaking about or his testimonial with Maxima, he was just super passionate and just like a believer, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know many doctors that leave patients feeling that way.
Right.
Oh, I can't wait, I love going to my doctor.
Yeah.
No, but it's a different approach that we're dealing with on the show, and who we talk to, and that's why we do the show, is to kind of bring that to awareness of people who may not have that in their lives, like Gavin before he met Maxima. He was going to every doctor, chiropractor, taking pills and medicine, and looking for the cure outside of himself, when Maxima kind of brought that up in himself, and it changed who he was and who he is. And that's what this is all about. It's about changing ourselves for the better, like Maxima was saying, better. And we got to start with our thoughts, because that's really where everything starts. And
Absolutely.
What it seemed to have opened in him was another way of healing, because he had been subscribing to Western medicine and wasn't aware that there were other types of healing modalities. So I know you have experience with Reiki and also Kukuilani. Could you tell us about the different modalities that you may have studied to come across this information?
So, as being a Reiki master, and like I mentioned, it is systematic. There's certain ways that you put your hands, but when you start to connect, whether you want to, like I said, call it the universe or God or whatever, once you start connecting and you're just being humble, just being, you start to receive messages. And you say, okay, I'm going to try it this way. And I always say, okay, somebody up there told me to do it this way. Okay, so one thing, as far as Reiki, you learn that you become one when you're healing. So I'm connecting you and me together. And God or universe told me, when you put your hands and you are releasing the energy, make it go directly to the light. You don't have to have it go through you. If you make it go directly to the light, the healing will work faster. And I know that there are a lot of massage therapists, they get tired, and also healers, they receive because they're taking the energy them, and I don't do that. I tell people I never get sick because the energy never touches me. It goes directly where it's supposed to go, and I send it to the light. So one of the things, when I know that a client is ready, I teach them, and you remember you mentioned Ho'oponopono, and I learned that you don't have to do, there's like 4 things. And I tell the client, I says, all you have to do is say mahalo and aloha, and that's it.
Love you.
Yeah. So, because the words, you mentioned Dr. Emoto, and the crystal for aloha and mahalo, they're the most beautiful crystals.
Wow.
And that's why those are the only words that I tell my client. Because aloha is all the love. You say it's hello, goodbye, everything, and then mahalo is the gratitude, and that's the only ho'oponopono that you really need for yourself. So when you're trying to release, for example, pain, so you do the aloha, mahalo. I love you. Thank you for being with me. It's okay. Now you can go. And that's it. And all of a sudden, when you do that, you feel the pain go. It release. We did a cancer patient, and it's all that's what we did. And oh my God, this cancer patient, I think she smoked. She didn't say, but I smelled the smoke release. I was like, oh no kidding.
Oh, wow.
It was this she was holding all the smoke in her chest, and I can feel all of that, and we just did the love and the thank you for being there, because what happens is pain loves fear, and every time you say, I want to get rid of you, I don't want you here, the pain gets bigger.
Oh, I see.
But then when you say, and you put the love and light, and you put, you just imagine that you're just giving a lot of love and light to your pain, and then all of a sudden, because the pain can't stand love,
It goes away.
it goes away.
Yeah, like darkness can't dwell where there's light.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And that's why I use love and
Love
light.
and light.
And I tested this so many times. We were at a what do you call it when there's a little tent in
Sweat lodge.
yeah, sweat lodge.
Sweat lodge.
Okay, so we were in the sweat lodge, and all women. Okay, I think there were like 20 women there, and my Reiki master, who was sitting next to me to my left, she starts going like this. She's like pushing. Oh, she was like she looks at me and she like, help me. I was like, okay, what are we doing? and there was a lady sitting next to her, and I looked at her, and she smiled at me. She had this sparkle in her eye, right? And I'm like, okay, I know what I'm doing. But we're just pushing this, and I look on the other side of the fire, and all the girls on the other side, the women on the other side, they were screaming and hollering, ah! And I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? And then the guide, I guess, who would you call the person who's the
facilitator.
Facilitator.
Mm-hmm.
She says, okay, everybody down to the ground, down to Mother Earth, as close as you can go, everybody down. And I'm like, okay, love and light, that's how I'm not afraid of you, love and light. And all of a sudden, I look across, and that other lady, I knew she was doing exactly the same thing because of the sparkle in her eye.
Right.
And everybody was just like quiet. It was like, wow. And I'm like, and I tested that so many times. It's always the love and light that fights off whatever is in
So
there.
what do you think was this energy that the lady saw that she was asking you to move?
It was a bad energy. So she was like trying to push it away.
Into
I think
the
it was
fire, or
she was trying to push it into the fire. But I think what really was needed is just the love and light to be put in there. And then once the love and light was there, it's like, they said it's like a bubble. It just like,
pops.
and it just left.
This is all
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know how many times I've worked with so many people of how this works, and it works instantaneously.
Wow.
That's all you have to do. But you see, you have to have the love and light in your heart already. And that's why I say it's the spiritual muscle.
I know that you also bless homes. How do you do that? What is your healing?
What the Hawaiians do is they use the tea leaves. That's their the tea leaves is sacred, and you use the whether it be Hawaiian salt or you could just get the ocean water, and you dip the leaves into the salt water, and you sprinkle it with the intention of just sending love and light. And what you do is anywhere there's like a mirror or an open area or window, because that's how things come in within your house, and you just bless it, and you, like I said, intention of love and light, and then just sprinkle it around, and then all of a sudden you just feel the house feel so light.
I noticed one of the things that, because as a spiritual realtor, she was teaching me how to bless a house, and one of the things that compelled me about her teaching was that when she said to go and get the water from the ocean, she actually said that I need to take flowers to the ocean to ask the ocean if it was okay to take the water for the blessing. So it seemed that every part of the process of blessing the house was from the beginning, when I was asked to bless the house, to that my thoughts are all my actions are always toward healing.
And even to picking the leaves, because you have to ask, I'm going to use this for a blessing. Is it okay that I use you? So you talk to everything. And yeah, that's true.
I love that. And then you also spoke about dowsing. Do you use dowsing rods in your blessing as well, as healing a person?
And like I say, to me, it's more of a teaching tool, since I already know where I need to do the healing. It's just for the person
to see.
Because it's only something to put trust in, to say, oh, this does really work. Wow, I can do this myself. Because once they learn that, they could go home and try it themselves. Go, oh, that's where the energy is. And then they just put their own love and light into it.
Very interesting. And so your book, My Journey Through Healing, where can we find that?
It's at the bookstore, and it's also on Amazon.com,
Okay.
and people can download it as an e-book.
Ebook. Wonderful.
Nice. Nice. Thank you so much, Maxima.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, we appreciate your, I would call it outside the box way of thinking and healing in terms of, what we go to a doctor for. I would consider you more like a shaman or a healer, but very similar to indigenous culture, someone that maybe our innate ability is opening up to now. So thank you so much for helping us to remember who we really are, so we can help heal ourselves. And thank you for opening us up to that.
And I appreciate all of
Appreciate you.
Thank you, Maxima. And stay tuned for our upcoming Holistic Hawaii TV series. I am Karen Gomes.
I'm Claire Baggio.
And I'm Zach Royer.
We'll see you soon, and aloha.
Take care.
Aloha.
Aloha.